Hey guys, Jacob Howard here, and today we are going to look at getting started in an FPV simulator with your DJI FPV Drone V2 remote. So I do recommend Liftoff over the DJI Fly Simulator app simply because it's much better at simulating actual physics and how your FPV drone is going to fly. Now, some people have said that the DJI Fly Simulator teaches more of how the DJI FPV drone flies, and Liftoff is more like how a traditional FPV drone flies. But in the end, the Liftoff Simulator, which teaches more of the traditional FPV drone, is going to teach at a much higher level than the DJI Fly Simulator. So I think if you learn on this, you're going to be better at flying the other drone. You might have to adjust a little bit as you're flying to compensate for the different flying styles, but in the end, you're going to be a much better pilot for it. So I have logged into Liftoff here. You can just get this on Steam, download Steam, and then buy Liftoff. It's about $20, I think, at this point. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn on the controller, and then I'm going to plug it in into the USB-C port and wait for my computer to recognize it. And it just popped up that it did. So I'm going to come into here, options. I'm just going to go straight into controls and just do a calibration on it. Make sure everything's working on this end. No reason to go fly if it's not properly calibrated. So right now you can see the drone's not doing anything as I move the controller around. So I'm going to calibrate and start calibration. See, now it's showing some things. I'm going to center my stick. And I always recommend making sure you do your remote controller calibration on here in real life. Don't rely on the computer to tell you. That's the whole point of doing a calibration, is you want to be able to tell where it is in real life, not what the computer says. So I'm just doing what it says. I pushed up on the pitch to calibrate that, pushed up on the throttle to calibrate that. Now it's going to do roll. So I'm going to roll to the right, and that's going to teach it how to do that. And then the next one will be yaw. So I'm going to yaw to the right, and that'll teach that. And then I need to make sure I recenter. And there you go. It's finished calibration. So I'm going to save, click OK. I've never connected this controller to this computer or Liftoff before, so it did it really quickly. So that was really great. Next, I'm going to go into free flight here, and I'm just going to try out flying for the first time with this thing. I recommend people starting like the straw bale, just because it's really simple to start with if you haven't done FPV flying before. Picking a drone, this really doesn't matter a whole lot. They do have different flying characteristics. There's some I like better. You're still going to learn the physics of it. And honestly, being able to learn to fly different kinds of drones is a good idea, because that's going to give you a lot more skills in the end. So I've selected the drone. I just moved my throttle all the way down. Then you can see down here on the bottom screen, you can see where my sticks are. You can also see on the top left, it says acro. So it means I'm in acro mode currently. The drone is already armed. All it had me do was move my throttle down to arm it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throttle up and just try to take off straight off. I'm going to pitch forward a little bit and kind of just start flying around. So now, lots of people will recommend you start like with horizon mode or level mode or stab mode when you're first flying. I don't recommend that, simply because you're going to learn bad habits and you're not going to be able to fly as well as you will if you just learn acro right away and get through all the crashes. That's the thing about simulators. They are the best place to crash because there's no actual consequences. So you can learn how to do a lot of fine-tuned flying and stuff like that all in the simulator without having to spend all the money on the parts you're going to break. Because the DJI FPV drone can be durable in a crash, but most of the time you break something and it is not very cheap to fix. Now, a few moves I would recommend you do, and there's obviously a whole list of this and things I could show. But first thing, obviously, is takeoff, which we already did. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sit here, get everything in the center, and do a turn. Now you can see as I'm turning, I am pitching to the right, and I'm yawing to the right. So turning cannot just be one or the other. You can't just do yaw, because then you have this kind of issue. And you can't just do roll, because that's just a roll. That doesn't actually turn you. But if you do both at the same time, you can actually do a really smooth turn for your first flights. Something else I recommend is to do figure eights. Do that same thing. You can see I'm rolling and yawing to the left and rolling and yawing to the right and just drawing a figure eight in the sky. You can start with big figure eights and then go to smaller ones. Learning how your drone moves is really what this all comes down to. I remember when I first started in the simulator, I was so happy one time when I used the entire battery in the simulator without crashing. So, because I was just pushing the limits, I was really seeing what can I do, because I knew if I crashed, I could just restart. So now I'm way better at it to where I can fly around and I can do all kinds of different stuff and really actually just expand my skills instead of relying on, I don't know at all what I'm doing. So another thing you want to learn in the simulator is throttle control. So throttle control is a lot more than just speed. It's really the defining factor while you're flying. So for example, if I want to fly through this barn, if I throttle too much, I'll hit the top. If I'm too low, I'll hit the bottom. But if I can learn how to adjust it, and I was off on my roll a little bit. So that's a prime example of not having the control just right. So I'm going to take off here again. But what you want to do is you want to make sure you can start learning how to control your throttle. So you can see I'm a little low. I can power up and I can power back down. And there we go. Made it through. Throttle control is incredibly important. It's what's going to define just about everything you do while you fly. It's like right there is throttle control. Right here is throttle control. Everything is. Flying low is throttle control. Flying high through gaps is throttle control. It's not about speed. It's not about height. It's about precision. Like this. I think I technically made it. Throttle control is going to really, really help you as you're learning how to fly. I often recommend people try learning how to fly close to the ground. That does help you learn throttle control, one of the best ways I've found. Feel free to give it little blips. It doesn't have to stay all smooth or in one place. And obviously I can't fit between those logs, so I'm going to stop doing that. Just get a feel for how the throttle controls it. Throttle is not just forward movement, it's everything. So if I'm pitched back, I'm going to go faster at full throttle than I would if I was at no throttle. It controls every part of the drone, not just the forward movement, which is what a lot of people might be used to. So next off, you want to make sure you learn your pitch. Oftentimes people fly too fast because their pitch is too far forward. You want to pull that back. If you're going too fast, that will contribute more to your horizontal speed than throttle does half the time. So that's something definitely you want to start learning early is your pitch. Don't be pushed too far ahead. Don't be pushed too far back. Trying to keep yourself at whatever angle your camera is. So for example, if I do this, I'm at 30-degree angle with my camera. So as I'm flying, I want the drone tilted about 30 degrees forward, which is going to be right about there. That'll allow me to go still, 40 miles per hour, 50 even. But I still have good control. I'm not going too fast, and I'm not going too slow. And if I want, I can pitch it forward more and see how that works. Now, the thing you got to remember when flying in acro or manual mode, as you start flying your DJI FPV drone, is this. You pitch forward, and you are not going to be pitching backwards until you actually make that move. So basically for acro, I like to remember, honestly, Newton's law of physics, that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So for every movement, in order to undo it, you have to do an equal and opposite movement. So let's say, for example, I roll to the right about 20 degrees. Now I'm centered again. Shouldn't I be rolling back to center? Nope. I have to roll to the left 20 degrees in order for it to level itself out. Same thing goes for pitch. If I pitch forward, it's going to keep pitching forward until I pitch back. If I roll left, it's going to continue rolling left until I roll back. This is really the important part of acro mode. That is going to benefit you a ton learning that right off the bat, because it's not like what we're used to. We're used to flying, and when we let go of the sticks or whatever, especially if you've flown like Mavics or stuff like that, when you let go, it stops. And that is not going to be the case with this drone, with acro or manual mode for the DJI FPV drone. We have our other videos too on tips for flying stuff with the actual drone. If you guys need more instructions on, like how to get started in the simulator and what you should be really testing for and trying for, then definitely let me know and we'll make more videos on that. But this is to kind of get you started so that you know where to start with so that you can start practicing on your own, because that's really what you need to do. You need to be putting at least a dozen hours in before you take off your real drone, because you do not want to lose that thing. You do not want to break it. Why not invest the $20 to get a simulator? You can use your controller. It came with your drone. You don't have to buy anything else. Throw it on your computer and you get a great flying experience, and you can really learn how to do FPV in manual mode before you really take off. So if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know, and have fun simulator flying. Out. Boom.